All right, this video is a little more reloading centric. The stool was a great addition to helping reload, but this is actually for reloading. I guess you can make the case for the stool as well. I tried wet tumbling a while back, while being a few years ago. Wasn't really impressed with it. I wouldn't say it was bad. I think what I would say is it was a mess. Mess because it's a wet mess. And the pins. The pins are the problem, in my opinion. So I've got a tumbler for tumbling, and I think a couple years ago there was a super sweet deal on Midway for Hornady's wet tumbler, and I picked that up. Too good to be true price kind of thing. I think it was around the holidays a few years ago. And so I've got the tumblers, I've got all the ingredients, I've played around with it, and have never been really satisfied with the quality of the product that turns out. But the process has been a stumbling block for me, because anything wet, so in the garage with dry tumbling, I just throw them into the tumbler, let them tumble, and throw them into a bucket, shake out the media, and I'm good to go. With wet tumbling, you got to make sure everything's sealed good so you don't have any leaks. Let your tumbler run for an hour or two, depending on what you're doing, how bad it is. Throw your whatever, your Lemishine, your Dawn, your whatever, your stainless steels, and I've got stainless steel pins. I've got two types here, two 5-pound jugs, a shiny and a dull, that came with different kits, again, over the years. And what turned me off to it was, one, it's time consuming. The dry tumbling for me is set it and forget it. But for those who want the ultimate in cleaning for the pockets and inside the shell, I don't think you can beat wet tumbling. I don't have a tumbling dryer or a dryer for any wet tumbled brass, at least at this point. Don't see myself getting one, because for me, wet tumbling would be something I would do on a rare occasion. And what turned me back onto it again, and the reason I'm making this video, is because of these two containers, and obviously a 5-pound bucket to make things wonderful again. So, and a lid that wanted to fall off. So what made me relook at wet tumbling was the fact that I hated the clean out process, because for me the clean out process happens at the sink, and the potential to drop steel pins down the drain with the garbage disposal, it's too high of a risk, even when you're using a magnet and all that good stuff for grabbing pins. It's just too messy, too risky, too whatever, to damage other things. So put it on the back burner. I was poking around Midway a few weeks ago and saw this set on sale, and couldn't tell how sturdy it was, and I'm way impressed with how this heavy duty composite, and this set is for 9mm. And the beauty behind this, and obviously this is the need for the bucket, because this just sets into the bucket on top of the bucket. So, and because it's hard to see with the bucket, I will take the bucket off. So the idea behind it is, once you've tumbled, in separator paper, once you've tumbled and you're done, you would then dump your brass and your water and your pins all into this collator kit. The bottom is a screen mesh to catch all your pins, and let the water pass through into the bottom of the bucket. So you can do this in the garage, and it doesn't have to be inside the house or at the sink. And when you dump your, and again, depending on how you want to do this, when you dump your brass, the smallest I will shoot is 9mm, so the brass is not going to go outside of this or through these holes. So all your brass is retained here, and you can shake this out, and then all the water goes through the mesh, and then you've got your pins down at the bottom. So to me, that was a win, because now I can do this out in the garage. If I spill pins in the garage, who cares? Plus, it's a lot easier to deal with pins in this mesh than it is to try and deal with them in some strainer in the sink or whatnot. So I'm going to grab some brass and kind of show you what this would look like pseudo real. All right, so here's my pseudo realness. Let's assume it's probably a realistic amount of brass that we would shoot in a session. And I would probably use most of the pins. So let's go with all 5 pounds. And again, doing it real. So all right, so let's assume, here's where the fakery comes in. Let's pretend that I had a big jug of from my either tumbler or from my Hornady, that this was the bin of finished brass and pins. And as you can see, there's pins everywhere, there's brass everywhere. So again, a little bit of fakery, assuming that the bucket is underneath there, and there's also a lot of water in this container. And I think I even saw a pin jump out in the garage just because of the messiness, which was to my point that things will get messy, and hopefully you can see this. So I'm wondering how many pins are going to stay up, and you can see some pins dropping there. So trying to catch them real time is going to be interesting. All right, and this is where I love my magnet. So everything that just got dropped on the bench is going to make it into my container. So exactly, that's what would have gone into the sink and I'll do this because I'm anticipating a bit of a mess. In fact, I'm thinking, actually, since this isn't moving, that should be fine. I'll take all my pins that I would have to dry and put them back in the container. Again, this is more time than I would ever spend on dry tumbling. A couple of pins still there. So my concern is there's still a lot of pins in there. So rinse and repeat. And I don't know, my C-pin's there. I'm probably overdoing it. And I lost a piece of brass. There's my exercise for the morning. So again, probably overdoing it. No pins in here. Handful of pins there. So again, whether I'm doing magnet or not, the nice thing about this is easy to pour. No more pins in here. No more pins there. I don't think I have any more pins in here. A couple on the bench. Double check. No pins. So my confidence in dealing with errant pins is much higher with this configuration, with this addition to the separation process, because I wouldn't have all the goodies in the kitchen next to the sink to support what I'm trying to do. So having the ability to get a little messier out in the garage with pins going left, right, or wherever is less of a problem. I wish, however, and this is, a downside, but it is what it is. I wish these could fit in the bucket for storage as opposed to just, they can sit on the top of the bucket, which is maybe what I'll do. I'm still debating. But the benefit of the bucket is I can keep all my material for doing the cleaning and the magnets all in one place. Put everything together and then store this in a corner. The lid is kind of useless, but to keep dust out and whatnot, I suppose I can put that on. But I think these were on sale for $13 at Midway. And I know Midway right now is doing a $49 free shipping, so I think these are back up to the original price of about $20. But for 13 and change, what they were and what you get and how, these are solid. These are not cheesy plastic like the bucket and the lid. They're a nice composite, so these will not break, and I would anticipate they last quite a while. And even if the screen had a problem, I'm sure I could rig something up, but even the screen is pretty solid and reinforced, so I would say this is a win, definitely.